Now, it's time for some sanity. It's the Michele Tafoya Podcast.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Michele Tafoya Podcast. Please subscribe. Just hit that little subscribe button. We'd appreciate having you with us every single episode. We're about a week out since the election now. And some races are still yet to be called. Like, why? How are we this far from the voting date and we still don't have results in some congressional seats? How is this possible? Some states did it like that, and others were a week out and we still don't have results. I can't make sense of this. And it's actually kind of frustrating and aggravating. We'd like to move forward with all the plans that need to be made. So if we could do that, Arizona, we'd love it. All right. I talked to you last week about this election and about some of the immediate fallout and responses. The one that has me tickled pink, and here we are, like I said, we're a week out, and some people are still having a tough time accepting the results of this election, in spite of the fact that it was an electoral college win and it was a popular vote win. But here's the thing that's cracking me up now, the finger pointing, the excuses, why Kamala didn't win, why Trump did win. Where were the mistakes made? The autopsy that is being conducted. I want to tell you a few things. Remember when they told us that Joe Biden was sharp as a tack? That he was running circles around everyone in the White House? That he was, of course, completely acceptable to be sitting in the Oval Office and running again? And then there was the debate. And immediately after the debate, suddenly Joe Biden was no longer fit to run for office. Just like within 2 hours, everything had changed. We all know that's not true. We all know he wasn't fit to be on that debate stage and probably not fit to complete this 4-year administration, and certainly not fit to run again. But they told us he was. Then he wasn't. And then when he was forced to step down, because God knows he didn't want to, he was forced to step down. Obama, Pelosi, George Clooney all gave their blessing. Joe, you got to get out. He was compared to George Washington. The comparison isn't even the same. Read some history and you'll understand why. George Washington didn't want to be a monarch. He wanted to see leadership. He voluntarily did this. They're saying that Biden voluntarily did. No, this is a completely different set of circumstances. But let's revisit George Clooney comparing Joe Biden to the great George Washington for doing the selfless act of stepping out of the race. Here's cut one.
The person who should be applauded is the president who did the most selfless thing that anybody's done since George Washington. And that's true. And so all the machinations that got us there, that's all. None of that's going to be remembered.
None of that matters. None of the machinations matter. It only matters that he did the right thing, according to George Clooney. Well, that's interesting. Now, here we are in the post-mortem phase, the autopsy phase. How come Kamala didn't win phase? Well, she didn't have enough time. She certainly had the money, which she overspent. So Nancy Pelosi then, after all that praise heaped on Joe Biden, Joe, we love you, Joe. We love you, Joe. You've done the most selfless act since George Washington. Nancy Pelosi the other day said this, cut two.
Had the president gotten out sooner, there may have been other candidates in the race. Kamala, I think, still would have won, but she may have been stronger having taken her case to the public sooner. The anticipation was that if the president were to step aside, that there would be an open primary.
But that is not what happened, Nancy. There was no open primary. And you're saying the anticipation is if he had stepped out sooner. Why didn't you make him? You were successful doing it after the debate. Why didn't you do it well before? You all knew he was not fit, mentally fit. You all knew it. But see, Joe Biden served as the same kind of vessel that Kamala would have served as. So it didn't matter that he wasn't fit. because they could just pull levers and, put papers in front of him and make him do what they wanted, this Democrat machine. And they believed Kamala would do the same, and she likely would have. So Joe Biden has gone from George Washington to, damn it, Joe, why didn't you get out sooner? That one is one of the most humorous to me. And then to say suddenly, we're the campaign of joy. Kamala is joy. Everyone feels great. To, we should have had a mini primary. And, we should have maybe done something at the convention. And maybe she should have got to know people sooner. Well, if she just started talking immediately, maybe people would have gotten to know her sooner. But remember how you kept her under wraps for like a month? Don't forget that. You wouldn't let her talk to anybody. And she had to be prepped for 5 solid days in a Pittsburgh hotel room before the debate with Donald Trump to be ready for that. And then we saw that was the most inauthentic performance ever because she just kept repeating the same lines. Here's the other part of this election that is driving me crazy, and it is the misinformation about abortion rights. And by the way, it didn't help. Kamala basically built her campaign around scaring women that if you vote for Donald Trump, there will be national abortion bans. There are Trump abortion bans all over the country right now because he overturned Roe v. Wade. No, he did not. The Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. And yes, in large part due to the appointments that he made that the Senate confirmed, by the way. So this isn't a dictatorial move by Trump. They went through the process. He nominated judges. They put those judges through hell. And then they were approved. They were seen through by the Senate. And then Roe v. Wade was overturned. So Trump abortion bans, look, politicians do this. They lie. They misuse language all the time. So this is really nothing new. But now, even in the wake of this election, people are, I'm going to lose my rights. I'm going to shave my head. There's this 4B thing where I'm not going to have babies. I'm not going to have sex with men. I'm not going to date anyone. And I'm going to shave my head. And I'm not going to be attractive. And okay, you do you. That's fine. Katie Porter is a congresswoman from California. And she went ahead and propagated, and even post-election, this fear about abortion, using her 12-year-old daughter as the example. Let's roll cut 3.
So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And she said, Mom, Trump won. Trump's going to win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion? This is from a 12-year-old, my 12-year-old daughter. And so it was really a reminder of how scary this time is for people and how important it is for Democrats to have strategies, both at the state level and the federal level, to make sure that we can continue to protect people's rights.
All right. First of all, I know that fear is real for some people because I have friends who fear it. Even here in Minnesota, where I reside, where no, you're safe here in Minnesota. And I did an ad here in Minnesota about Democrats who were saying abortion bans are coming if you vote for Republicans in Minnesota. Well, no. First of all, nationally, Trump said he would veto any abortion ban that came to his desk. Secondarily, people have to look at realistic numbers. Do you honestly believe? Yeah, I know all 3 branches right now, or the House, the Senate, and the White House are all going to be occupied and dominated by Republicans. I get that. But if you really think that they would try an abortion ban, you got something else coming, and it's not going to happen. I had a friend say to me, even in Missouri, they passed this abortion referendum, which is great, but Josh Hawley will make sure that's overturned. Josh Hawley can't do anything to Minnesota law. He's a senator, a U.S. senator. He doesn't have any jurisdiction over Missouri. So the lack of information about how the process works, about what realistic numbers are, and about the fact that Trump said he would veto any kind of abortion ban is astonishing to me. But it's out there. and it has people fearful. Um, you can sort of look at this narrative though with this congresswoman's daughter and ask yourself, she's more petrified of not being able to get an abortion than she is of the notion that she might get raped. So, look, the Plan B pill is still very much an option for people. There are all kinds of options, and abortion is not going to be banned. And I'm so tired of arguing this point. And by the way, I'm pro-choice. So there you go. All right, that's Katie Porter and her daughter and the abortion issue, which I hope just in time now, as we see it work its way through the states, people will calm down. But there is no calming down when it comes to The View. It is a hotspot of hyperbole. And their reactions to Trump's win varied from wearing all black on the set, like they were in mourning, to just blaming issues that had nothing to do with the candidates or the campaigns. They just blamed America. They blamed voters. And they were looking at the makeup of the voters. People talk about black voters, white voters, educated, uneducated, Hispanic, non-Hispanic, all kinds of, they love to section us up when in fact we're all just Americans who kind of want some stuff to be normal. So here they started talking about this border area in Texas and how it voted. Go ahead, let's use cut number 4 here.
And finally, we talk a lot about these different demographics and these assumptions of where they're going to go. Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep. And they were begging people to care about it for years. We need to take some lessons.
That's what that was.
The lessons are not
Knock,
misogyny.
knock. Who's there? Oh my gosh, it's Whoopi.
Misogyny and racism is what Sonny Hostin went with. Misogyny and racism. And she says it so matter-of-factly and so easily as though she has the proof. And she does not. And her co-host there was saying it's the border. People have been screaming about the border for years and no one's listening. That is true. That is true. And how every state's a border state now. So when you have a 97% Latino population in a border area and 75% of them vote for Trump, and Sonny Hostin just says misogyny and racism, grow up. People have real problems. And if they think a black woman can solve those problems for them, they'll vote for her. But they didn't, and they don't trust this current administration. And Kamala Harris had been named the border czar and did zero. In fact, dialed us backwards into more trauma and tragedy at the border and more chaos. And no one trusted her. That didn't have to do with the fact that she was a woman or a woman of color. Sonny, get real. Get real. Actually talk to people outside of your bubble for once and find out what they're really thinking and what's in their hearts and their guts. I mean, just get real. Again, I sat in on that show. I co-hosted a number of days. And so I'm not just saying this like I don't know these people. I got my glimpse. And I just think that is one of the most irresponsible comments I've ever heard. You just want to go that way. No, they can't. Latino men can't handle a woman being in charge. Well, this very misogynistic, racist president-elect hired a woman to be his chief of staff, making history, first in the nation's history, and supposedly has appointed Marco Rubio to be Secretary of State, a Cubano from Miami. So he would become the first Latino Secretary of State if that, in fact, gets all sorted out. So enough with that. But not enough with this, folks. You got the best gift you can possibly give this holiday season, and you still have time to get it for all your tailgating that you have yet to do. It is a Solair Grill, and it's their Take Anywhere Grill. First, let me tell you the website, besthotgrill.com. These are my friends. It's an American-made product. When you're tailgating, you want to be able to grill. You want it to heat up quickly, and you want it to cool down quickly. You don't need charcoal or anything like that. This grill is amazing. Infrared heat. It's really light. It's really portable. It heats up in like 3 minutes to searing hot heat. So you get the best food you've ever tasted grilled on this Solair Grill. It's going to make you the master of the tailgate. You'll have the juiciest, most flavorful food in the parking lot. And again, it's going to cool down so fast that you get to the game in plenty of time. Made in the USA, it's the Solair Anywhere, Everywhere, and all about infrared grill. They're portable, perfect for on the go, from picnics to camping, RVs to boating, and especially tailgating. But a great holiday gift. Anyone would love to have this. So amaze your tailgating friends and surprise all the people on your gift list with great food you grill with your Solair infrared grill. Learn more about these fantastic grills and Solair's Try Before You Buy demo rental program at besthotgrill.com, besthotgrill.com, besthotgrill.com. So now that we're still kind of settling, the dust is settling from the election, what we're seeing is a very aggressive and fast assembling of the cabinet for President-elect Trump. We understand that Don Jr., his son, is really spearheading this, and they're appointing people left and right. And one of them is Tom Homan, former director of ICE. And he has been nominated to be the border czar. And he has always been very serious about making the border secure, as are all border agents and ICE agents. And look, everyone again is getting very terrified over this idea that they're going to separate families. They're going to rip babies out of mothers' arms. They're going to do all of this. I think the starting point is going to be these criminals that are here. We have a Lake and Riley case, which, by the way, this week, the defendant asked for no jury trial, just have the judge rule on it. I hope the judge does everything he can to sentence this man to the justice he deserves. The full weight of the law for killing this young 22-year-old woman. We have Jocelyn Ngari, 2 immigrants, illegal immigrants, murdered and raped this little girl, tortured her, left her in a drain pipe. I mean, it's despicable. And these people should not have been here. And had they been properly vetted, would not be here. Even Bill Clinton admitted that. So the border was a big, big part, as we discussed with that View conversation, a big part of this. People want a safe border. Talked to a friend of mine recently. She said, I don't feel unsafe. Well, I think that's great. Maybe it just hasn't hit you yet. And maybe you don't know about these other stories, but a lot of people do feel unsafe. They want, enough with this, they don't like brown people coming in. Bullshit. They want safety. They want safety. So I wanted to bring up this old conversation that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, and Tom Homan had about securing the border and deportations in general, because there will be deportations. They will start with the criminals and the terrorists and the bad guys, but there will be deportations. This is a really interesting exchange. Let's listen to this. This is cut 5.
Of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
I think that left her a little speechless. See, here's what, again, it's so simple. Like, if you want to come to this country, do it legally. And if you are seeking asylum, do it legally. See, they try to attribute asylum seeking to all of these people who come in illegally. It's just not true. And it's not fair to the people who are seeking genuine asylum, who really do have tough situations they're coming from. I'm not just talking about, there's not great job opportunities or the weather's too hot. It surprises me sometimes that the left is so quick to say we can't be the world's policeman. The United States should not be the world's policeman. But they do say the United States should let in every single human who wants to come here. It's unsustainable. I want you to picture wherever it is you live, and you have a friend over, and then another friend comes over. And so you say, we'll have a party. You have a few more friends over. Then the family comes over. There comes a point where your space can no longer handle people. Like, there's just not enough room. There's not enough food. There's not enough water. There aren't enough bathrooms. There aren't enough resources. And by the way, the fire marshal would probably have something to say about it, right? Why is the country any different? You have campuses that have limits on the number of students they admit because they only have so many resources. They can't let everyone in, so they vet them by grades or whatever. They don't have enough rooms. Now we're saying we don't have enough jails, so we got to let people out of jail. But we have room for countless, unending lines of illegal immigrants. I understand why everyone wants to come here, but there is a legal process. Should it be fixed? Can it be changed? Perhaps. But this is what the left will do. They will say, we need comprehensive reform. That was like when they said we need comprehensive healthcare reform. That way you can write a big, fat bill that won't fit on anyone's bookcase because it's too long and too voluminous. Write a big, fat bill, throw a bunch of stuff in there that has nothing to do with immigration, and call it comprehensive immigration reform. No, let's do this piecemeal. Let's do it a little at a time. Let's figure it out. Let's be smart. But for starters, let's stop the flow of migrants, whether they're coming across the border, the southern border, the northern border, or through airports on government planes. All right? And for those now who are saying, oh gosh, it's going to be so expensive to deport these people. Now you're worried about money? Do you know how expensive it has been to fly these people in, put them up in luxury hotels in New York City, give them cash cards to buy whatever they need, support them? You weren't worried about that expense, but now you're worried about how expensive it's going to be to deport them? Really? Tell that to Lake and Riley's family. Tell that to Jocelyn and Gary's brother and mother. Tell that to Rachel Morin's family and any of the kids in Nantucket who were molested by illegal migrants. You tell them it's going to be too expensive. Tell them to their face. Give it a try. So that is AOC and Tom Homan. Now, as I mentioned, it sounds like Marco Rubio will be the next Secretary of State. And I have long been a fan of his. Okay, I'm going to do this. Little name drop, little flex, little humble brag. He said publicly once that I was his favorite NFL sideline reporter. Thanks, Senator. I love that. But he is getting bold now with, I think so many people have been emboldened by how far they've been pushed by the left to accept things that aren't true, or to accept, you've got to be empathetic with our causes, but we don't have to be empathetic with yours. So I think we really have reached a tipping point. I want to show you this clip from Marco Rubio, again, expecting he will be the next Secretary of State. He gets caught in the hallway in Congress, in the Senate building, to be asked about what's going on with Hamas and the war in Gaza. Go ahead and roll number 6.
Senator Rubio, will you call for a ceasefire
No, I will
in
not.
Gaza?
On the
Senator
contrary.
Rubio,
Are you filming it?
Wait,
So I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes. And I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians, putting civilians in the way. Hamas knew that this was going to lead to this. So Hamas should stop building their military installations underneath hospitals.
So you don't
civilians.
care that 15,000 have died? You don't care about the babies that are being killed every day?
I think it's horrifying. I think it's terrible, and I think Hamas is 100% to blame. That's what I think. Make sure you post that, please.
There you go. They like to say, if you're in favor of killing Hamas, then you don't care about babies dying. That's your false choice there. Get that? I want every member of Hamas killed. I want that entire organization destroyed. So you don't care about babies? That is what we call a straw man argument. That is looking at two ends of a spectrum without acknowledging anything in between. But he handled it perfectly. Of course I care. Hamas should stop shielding themselves with these babies and these families and these civilians. Yeah, it was good. He said, absolutely not calling for a ceasefire. That doesn't get this done. And it doesn't. And again, it's that argument between two things that are so polemically different. And suggesting that there's only that argument. But he handled it. He handled it. You know what I'm handling better is my sleep, thanks to Sleep Cream. Sleep, C-R-E-M-E. If you have trouble sleeping, and it's a huge problem throughout America, it's been a problem for me, but I've been getting the best sleep because I use this. It's nothing you take orally. It's not a medication. It's not a prescription. It's a cream. And I just put it on before I go to bed. And I am relaxed. The main ingredient, the key ingredient, is this very pure CBD. And folks, it works. I was a skeptic. I tried it one time and I was blown away. So the company is Sleep Cream. They use all natural CBD combined with the finest essential oils. Right now I've got the rose scented on my bedside. It just smells so good. I put it on before I turn in. And usually I put it on like the insides of my forearms, the bottoms of my feet. And within minutes, it just helps me relax. And it allows my body to do what it's supposed to, which is sleep. Find them at sleepcream.com. Sleep, C-R-E-M-E.com. Just try it for a couple of nights. See if it works for you as well as it does for me. And if you don't experience better sleep, Sleep Cream will refund your purchase, guaranteed. You don't have to return anything. Go to sleepcream.com. Sleep Cream. Again, cream spelled CREME.com. And for the next few weeks, use code GAMEDAY at checkout, GAMEDAY, Game Day, to get free shipping. Game Day for free shipping, all one word. If you're ready for your best sleep ever, go to sleepcream.com, sleep, CREME.com. Use that code GAMEDAY for free shipping. So, we were talking about the post-mortem of the election, and one of Kamala Harris's former communications people, Jamal Simmons, was on CNN recently. And he said there is still one more option for Kamala Harris to become president. No, he's not talking about 2028. Let's hear what Jamal Simmons said about what might be best for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris here with the rest of this term remaining.
Joe Biden has been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States.
Whoa.
It would absolve her from being able to, from having to oversee the January 6th transition, right, of her own defeat. And it would make sure that it would dominate the news at a point where Democrats have to learn drama and transparency and doing things that the public want to see. Is the time. This is the moment for us to change the entire perspective of how Democrats
Okay, this
operate.
has now jumped from an internet meme to a Sunday morning show.
Jamal's out here right now.
Congratulations.
Season of House of Cards.
Go ahead and stop it.
I thought you were going to say, what about the Supreme Court?
You know what? That's hilarious. That is hilarious. The part that jumps out at me the most is when he says it would absolve Kamala of overseeing the January 6th transition of power in the election that she lost. Like, Is he suggesting she can't handle it? Is he suggesting that she can't handle that kind of adversity? If that's the case, thank God she didn't win. Because if she can't handle that, she certainly can't handle the Situation Room. Or a lot of other areas that a president has to be strong. Good Lord, it would absolve her from overseeing the transfer of power in the election she just lost. Oh my gosh. Come on. If that is what he really believes she needs, I am even happier that she did not win. Because she is not strong enough. You know, that ramrod spine of hers that Biden always talks about apparently isn't as strong as we were told. If that's the case. And then it would steal the news cycle. Yeah, it would. It would definitely steal the news cycle for a few days. Good. If that's what you want to do, you go ahead. But again, these threats to democracy. Now, there would be nothing illegal about this. Biden resigning, letting Kamala step in. You actually think Joe Biden is going to do this after all this party has put him through? After all the backstabbing, after all the front stabbing? You think Joe Biden is going to say, you know what? Wouldn't it be nice if I just let Kamala be president for a few months? That'd be so nice of me. I know she called me a racist once in a debate. I know my wife has never forgiven her for that. And I know that I got stabbed in the back so she could run and she didn't win. And you know damn well Biden is secretly glad she didn't win. Because he's still the only person who has defeated Donald Trump. Anyway, this is comedy hour, folks. This is comedy hour. He also said it would set a precedent so that there would not be this, who's going to be the first female president? Because she already would be. Yeah, but she wouldn't have been elected. She would not have been elected. It's just so stupid. I'm trying to get my head around how they just are misreading everything left and right. I can't get my head around it. I just can't. All right. Well, so many people are so upset by these elections that they are threatening that they're just not going to hang out with anyone anymore, especially people they know voted for Trump. I think these are the same people that have those lawn signs that say, in this house, we love everyone. Everyone is welcome. All are welcome here. All are welcome here. Except if you voted for Trump. So here's an example. This is cut number 7 we're going to roll on what this woman says she's going to do for the holidays.
Well, it's happening. The family wants to know what I'm doing for the holidays. I'm going to be here with my dogs and my daughter, who is of childbearing age and now has to get an IUD at 17 years old. And I'm going to be here with my son, who is a political target. And that should really tell you all you need to know about why I'm not going to be hanging out with y'all for the holidays. So fuck off. Choke on your turkey. Bye.
Choke on your turkey. That's so loving, so tolerant. The left is so they're so tolerant. Aren't they sweet? I know this is one person, but you can find these videos everywhere. Okay, so she said, my daughter is of childbearing years, so, she has to get an IUD. There are some other options. I mean, there's the pill, there's the patch, there's abstinence, there's whatever. But, like, the fact that your daughter has to get an IUD, and this is, like, ruining your life or her life, I don't know. I just don't know. What I do know is there's a way to save a ton of money. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the increasing cost of health insurance, and who's not, if you've had enough of not having control over your healthcare dollars, let me introduce you to ShareRight, healthcare done the right way. At ShareRight, you're not just a number, you're part of a caring community, and forget about paying excessive premiums. With ShareRight, you stand to save 30 to 50% compared to health insurance. Think about what you could do with all those savings, but it's more than just savings. ShareRight ensures you have access to the care you deserve precisely when you need it. From routine checkups to unexpected emergencies, with ShareRight, your healthcare is our top priority. Empower yourself today by taking control of your healthcare costs. Visit shareright.org/Tafoya, Tafoya, to learn more and see how much you can save. It's ShareRight, all one term, ShareRight.org/Tafoya. That's shareright.org/Tafoya for healthcare done the right way. Well, I'll leave you with a couple of fun things, okay? I don't know if you remember at one point during the campaign, the Kamala Harris team put together this "We Will Rock You" video. Well, it got a little co-opted after the election was won by now President-elect Donald Trump. So this is a very abbreviated version of what Kamala Harris's campaign was running, tagged by, well, let's just show it to you. This is cut number 8. We will rock you. Sing it! Oh, we will rock you, with that little pass it around to all the liberal stars, Pete Buttigieg, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Nancy Pelosi, who was a little off rhythm there, but, that's okay, to "We Are the Champions." I found that kind of funny. There are a lot of things. I mean, I don't know if you saw Nick Bosa and his San Francisco 49ers teammates doing the Trump dance after he came up with a big sack. Nick Bosa got fined by the NFL for wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat on camera in a post-game interview on Sunday Night Football. So this way he decided, if I celebrate on the field, they can't fine me. And they can't. But my favorite sports video of the year has nothing to do with politics. It's more of a cultural thing. It harkens back to the Paris Olympics. We now have breakdancing as an Olympic sport. And it grew infamous for the wrong reasons, not necessarily because there were super talented people, and there were. But let's take a look at this. This is a celebration by the Minnesota Vikings. And hopefully you'll get the reference, but as the video goes along, you should get this is my favorite sports video of the year so far. Cut 9. Let's roll it.
Extra man comes from Minnesota. Jones launches end zone. Closest man is a Viking. It is picked up by Bynum.
I got to applaud Bynum for memorizing the dance in its order, all the moves, fabulous, great, what we call a throwback or a callback in comedy. Not that I'm a comedian, but I do know the term callback. He's calling back to one of the iconic, brutal moments from the Paris games, and he uses that after he comes up with a pick. I'm so thrilled he got that interception because we got to see that. Absolutely fabulous. It takes some courage and it takes a lot of good thought to come up with that celebration. And as I say at the end of every podcast, be brave, do good, start to breathe. If you aren't satisfied with the election results, I'm here to tell you it's going to be okay. In fact, look at my mug that I got from the London Olympics. It says, "Keep calm and carry on." There, let me get it more centered. Keep calm and carry on. Let's do that. Be brave, do good. We'll see you next time.